Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jesse, and I am your virtual adventure guide here with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. Now, I know we've got a big new audience today, and so if you are new to us, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world, and today is a particularly special day. Now, there are big days celebrated throughout the world. There's Diwali, there's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween's coming up, Super Bowl Sunday, whatever you celebrate, they're all great. But all of them pale in comparison to World Sloth Day, which is today. And we are joined by the coolest group to highlight this, and that is the Toucan Rescue Ranch. So they have been joining us for the past, since we were founded back in 2015, we've been joined by the Toucan Rescue Ranch, who works to save, rehabilitate, re-release injured animals, educate the public about the incredible wildlife of Costa Rica, and particularly your favorite creature, certainly here by a big margin, sloth. So for World Sloth Day, we are going to hang out with Andrea in Costa Rica at the Rescue Ranch to learn about these amazing animals. I'm so excited to dive in. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to her to blow our minds. Welcome in, Andrea, and take us away.
Hi, Jesse. Thank you so much. As Jesse said, my name is Andrea. I am the tour coordinator here at the ranch. I've been surrounded by sloths for 2 years now, and it is really, really amazing to get to share another International Sloth Day with our sloths here and under our care. So we have permanent residents, and we also have sloths for rehab as well. So we're gonna get to see both of them. I also have my friend over here, which is the only sloth that you should ever pet, of course, and have on your shoulder and cuddle with, because believe me, real sloths, they do not like that. So I'm gonna go into that while we are talking. Well, to tell you a little bit on how we started working with sloths here at the Toucan Rescue Ranch. Actually, our founder, Leslie, she started the Toucan Rescue Ranch back in 2004. And as the name says, it was actually based on toucans, because she wanted to help toucans because no one else wanted to rescue them or work with them back at the time. And then 2007, Hera and her husband went to the only facility that was working with sloths here in Costa Rica. And of course, they fell in love with sloths. And I mean, who wouldn't? And even though, she learned that it was a really, really difficult job to take care of sloths, she was at first not convinced on working with sloths, and then her husband kept bugging her like, come on, Leslie, let's rescue a sloth. And finally she agreed, and so she talked with the guys from the Ministry of Environment, and they were the ones in charge of wildlife here in Costa Rica. And what Leslie agreed on was an adult sloth that she could rehabilitate and then rewild into our release site, which is another property in Sarapiquí on our Caribbean side. And of course, the wildlife police didn't listen because they brought a teeny tiny ball of fur. She was almost the size of my hand. And well, she's actually still here with us today. And I'm actually gonna flip my camera so you guys can see her, or at least see her sleeping, because that's what she really likes to do here. So give me just a second. So over here, this is Millie. She's now 15 years old. We've got Milo over here on the other side. But Millie, she was the reason why we started working with sloths, basically. Hi, Millie. Are you coming to say hi? It is your day today. And so we started with actually our vet program because of Millie. Our vet director now, Janet, she was, an expert on sloths, and it took us a while for us to contact her. And gladly she decided to come here and help us, and she's been helping us around for 15 years now, and she's the reason why all of our sloth program and all of the other animals that we rescue are so great. And of course, she's been a great mentor for some of our vets as well, and so it's been a great help. And at the very beginning, when we started rescuing sloths, people didn't believe it was possible to hand raise a baby sloth and then put them back into the wild. And so Mealy and her friend Milo, who was actually the second sloth to be ever rescued by us, and now he's going back into his bucket. um, they were not raised with the purpose of, rehabilitation and then going back into the wild. It was like only recently known how to take care of them and how to raise baby sloths and all of those things. And so they were not raised with that purpose. 10 years after rescuing Neely in 2017, we started with our Saving Sloths Together program. And so the Saving Sloths Together program, what we want is to rescue orphan baby sloths and then give them that second chance to see if they can go back into the wild. It is really, really amazing to see all of those things happen, of course. It is a really, really long process because they have to go through the nursery, elementary school, high school, and then finally college. And of course, we always try to give them, second, third, and as many chances as they need, because sometimes they might be a little slower in learning than others, but others can be like really, really fast. In the case of Milo and Neely, they became, permanent residents. Now they're a really important part of our educational program. And so people that come here to the ranch, or virtually as well, like you guys, you're able to learn about sloths because of these guys. And even though I wouldn't say Milo does a great job, because most of the times he is underneath all of his blankets in his bucket here, Milo and Mealy, they have such a big personality, like a sassy personality, because they really, really like their blankets. Now, of course, there are tons of things to learn about sloths. In these 2 years that I've been working here, I've been learning everything new, like something new every single day. One of my favorite facts I like to share about sloths, and you can actually see it with Milo here, take a look at his teeth. Sloths, even though they appear to be these really adorable, harmless animal, like peaceful animal, they're certainly not. I've seen even baby sloths being super, super aggressive, trying to defend themselves, trying to attack to defend themselves. And it's always, super, super a big deal to see that. And so two-fingered sloths like Mealy and Milo here, remember, the number of fingers is in their hands, but in their feet, they have 3 toes. So I actually like to call them two-fingered or three-finger sloths because of that. Not only do they have those really sharp, big claws, they also have those really, really big teeth that you can see in Milo there. And so those teeth, they never stop growing. They're not canines or fangs. They're called canine forms. But let's call them fangs for this purpose. They never stop growing. And as you can see, every time they open and close their mouths, they're always constantly grinding them against each other, kind of like doing this. And so they wear them down. And so they're super, super sharp. These guys, like a bite wound from these guys, oh, that's something that you guys do not want to feel. Fortunately, I haven't been bit by a sloth, but I know some of my colleagues, the vets, they have been bit by sloths, and they've told me it hurts quite a bit. Of course, you guys shouldn't be in any situation where a sloth needs to bite you to defend themselves or something like that, but yeah, these guys bite really, really strong. They're also about 3 times stronger than an average adult man, like an adult human. And so fighting with them, to restrain them in the clinic, sometimes I see them receiving treatments. And it's really, really amazing to see all of the strength that you need to hold only one of their arms. Like, it is seriously super, super interesting and astonishing to see. And there he goes, back into his blankets. So the only thing we do to help them is to tie the blankets over here so that they will not fall to the ground. But as you can see from Milo, they know exactly how to wrap themselves up in the blankets. Mealy does that as well. She's actually really, really good at doing so. And it's quite funny because these guys, like, they've always been surrounded by the blankets and everything, but we have 3 babies right now, or well, they're not babies anymore, but 3 individuals right now. They went through all of that process of rehabilitation, and even though, they had their blankets and everything when they were little, they do not know how to wrap themselves with the blankets as these guys do. And so I have, for example, Latte over here. Latte, she's sleeping on her hammock over there. And Latte, she's really special as well because she was actually the first baby from those generations of the Saving Sloths Together program. So she was the first baby to ever go through that program. And so in the early stages of this program, of course, we were just learning how to raise them properly and for them to not to get too used to people or too used to a life here and everything. And so it has been trial and error, and of course with every single generation, with every single individual even, we've been learning so many different things. And so at the very, very early stages of this program, we used to feed them green beans and carrots, which is kind of like a standard diet for sloths in captivity. And of course, with Latte, when it was time for her to transition from green beans and carrots to just leaves, it was kind of like a tough transition for her. And she was always like still dependent on people. She was a little bit more relaxed around people, which is something that is definitely not normal with wild sloths, and that is something that we do not want to see with our sloths or with our animals in general that we're rehabilitating. We want them to be afraid or maybe, a little distant from people. And she was not doing that. And so she became part of the the educational program here, sorry. And she's been doing great. I think that's like her passion. She's really happy educating people. Most of the time she comes out, but I think she just decided to be there sleeping, and that's okay. I mean, she gets to decide whatever she wants. We also have Helga, who was actually the champion from last year's Sloth Ironman Games. She's over here because she was not succeeding that well in college. However, she's doing really good. And of course, if she starts showing signs again that she wants to go back, she's really, really aggressive, which is great. But if she starts showing signs that, she might make it, then we will take her back to the release site. The thing with her is that she kept on coming to the ground and sleeping in the ground, and that's something that is definitely not normal on sloths. That's something that we do not want to see on sloths, just because around like 90-95% of their time is spent up on the trees. But with Helga, almost that time was spent on the bottom of the trees sleeping, and again, that's something that we do not want to see. So Jesse, I don't know if there are any questions so far while I move to the other section.
Andrea, there's like a gazillion questions on YouTube. I've never seen so many questions. World
Oh,
Sloth
that's great.
really inspired them. So I'll take a few from YouTube, actually. I'll save our live questions for our live classes when we're done our big bit. But Miss Higgins' class, Henry and Maya wanted to know, their eyes look kind of irritated. Do they have trouble seeing at all, or do they have good vision?
That is a great question. So sloths actually have a terrible eyesight. They base themselves a little bit more on their sense of smell, and that's why at least the 2-finger sloths have kind of like that piggy nose that I really, really like. And our vet Andres was telling me the other day that they even might have a little bit better sense of smell than dogs. And so that means that their sense of smell is really, really good. Something that I've learned in here is that when females are going into that time of the month, and they're looking for a partner, they will start secreting, let me show you, they will start secreting a milky substance from their nose like this. And so that has a lot of pheromones, a lot of like different smells and everything. And they will start rubbing themselves against the branches and just going around with that milky substance coming from their noses. And then the males, like the boys, will smell that there is a girl around that, wants a boyfriend, and they will go straight to that female, only based by the smell. In the case of the 3-finger sloths, the way they do that is that they actually scream. They have a high-pitched sound, so it's like a really high scream. You wouldn't even know it was a sloth. But their eyesight is definitely not good.
All right. But never heard the secretion thing before. That's an interesting one. We'll take one more from YouTube, and then we'll let you get to our next things before our next round of questions with our live groups. So both Mr. Hancock and Ms. Snyder's class want to know, why are sloths so slow?
Well, that is a great question. And let me begin with, they're actually not slow. They want to be slow most of the times. However, it is because of their metabolism. And so what people mean with the slowest animal on earth shouldn't be based on the way they move. It should be based on their metabolism. The metabolism and the way they digest everything, it is super, super slow, just because their diet is mostly based on leaves. And so that gives them really low energy. And so that is why, like, it takes them up to a month for them to digest what they eat on a week, sometimes even on a single day. And so just imagine you eat something today and you would go and poop it out in a month. So they have to conserve as much energy as possible in order to live their day by day. And that's why most of the times they're slow.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Andrea. And I think we're at our almost at our second section now. We can dive back in and then go from there.
Cool. Okay, so I am right now in, I'm actually going to start talking a little bit more about the Saving Sloths Together program. And I want to focus on this program, in these live tour because of the Sloth Ironman Games. It is today, it starts today. I'm gonna start talking a little bit more about that at the very end of, the tour. But this year we want to fund it more to help the Saving Sloths Together program. And so it is really important for you guys to know what goes on behind the scenes. And so the sloths that I just showed you, like Helga, Latte, Millie, and Milo, they're part of the permanent residents, which means that they are on the sanctuary side of the property. If you ever come here to the Toucan Rescue Ranch, you will be on the sanctuary side of the property because that's where we have our non-rehabilitated animals. And right now I am on the rescue center side of the property, which is close to the public, of course, because we have animals in here that are being rehabilitated in order to go back into the wild. And so the first stage for the babies when they arrive is the nursery. So I'm actually right here in Leslie's porch, and let me flip my camera again so I can show it to you. So this is basically the nursery or the sloth porch. And so right now we have three babies right here that we're taking care of. And well, this is Giselle. Giselle is one of the sloth nannies. She is feeding Coco. Gio, sorry. So this is tiny Gio. He is being fed with the syringe over here. So you can see he's having some goat's milk mixed with Pedialyte, and that's what we feed them. And so to feed the baby sloths, we do not use bottles because they can aspirate, and there's always like a risk of them aspirating, kind of like when you drink water super fast and it goes on the wrong side. It can happen to the sloths again as well. And so we use these syringes over here that, as you can see, they're pretty small, and they have this miracle nipples, as we call them. And so they start suckling from here. And now if you see Giselle when she's feeding Gio, you'll see that she's going really, really slow with her thumb. And she's always gonna have to be like paying attention to the baby to see if the baby's engaging, that it is drinking, that it is not falling asleep, because if he falls asleep, then he might not be paying attention on the way he swallows the milk. And so we always have to be super, super patient. You can see how the milk is flowing here, super, super slow. And so the nursery is the first stage for these baby sloths. We bring them here when they are less than a kilogram. So most of these babies are newborns. They're less than 2 months of age, and of course they come here because of a lot of different reasons. And so it could have been that their mothers abandoned them because they felt that the baby was ill or that there was something wrong with the baby. It could have been that something happened to their mothers, and so we have to step in and take care of the babies or some other stuff. And so they will stay here at the nursery until they are around like a kilogram, and then they will move to the elementary school and high school that I will show you in just a bit. Then over here we have London. London is one of our really special babies. So he has some cognitive issues, and so he is not doing well. He's doing better though, but he does not do well coordinating his movements. He might have something like neurological or something. We're still not sure. We've done CAT scans and x-rays and everything to make sure to know what is going on inside of London, but we're not sure. And so because of these issues, London actually was decided that he was going to stay here as a permanent resident. But as I was saying, he has been improving. He's been seen climbing all the way to the top over here, even though he does not coordinate his movements as well. He's extremely determined. And that's something that I have to talk about sloths. Sloths are extremely determined animals. If they decide they want to go somewhere, they will do whatever it takes to go to that place. Whoops. So this is kind of like his jungle gym. As you can see, he is a really active baby. He is really curious as well. So he's always trying to see what is going on. He's interested in me right now, and I don't want him to be interested in me. He should be climbing around, not paying attention to me, little boy. So he is still getting milk as a part of his diet. We're starting to wean it off. Estamos tratando de quitarle la leche, ¿verdad? He's starting to get weaned off of milk, and so you can see that he's got lots of leaves over here. And even though like sometimes we receive newborn baby sloths, we start introducing the leaves because they can start eating leaves almost as soon as they're born, maybe like a week after they're born. They will start trying to munch on the leaves or trying to lick their mother's lips to see what they're eating and what they're doing. And so they will start imitating all of their mother's, behaviors. Since we do not have their mothers over here, of course, we have to try to teach them how to do that. And we start introducing leaves and everything. We start trying to give them, and they just follow their instincts and they start doing it by themselves. Then we have a baby Coco over here. Coco is sleeping underneath the blankets as well. Coco is a little bit younger than Gio. And she is really adorable. She was named Coco after a coconut because she looks like a coconut, or at least when she arrived. She is starting to get a little bit more active, and you see the leaves over here, so that's great. So then after they are a kilogram, they are moved to the elementary school. So I'm actually gonna head over to elementary. Give me just a second. And so being in elementary means that they will start getting weaned off of milk a little bit more. They will start getting more leaves. They will stop getting a little bit more human contact. It's not that we grab the babies and cuddle with them, because we do not do that over here, because they're trying to go back into the wild. If we start cuddling with them, they do not like it, first. And second, they might get a little bit used to people, which is something that we do not want. And so we try to give them their space, and eventually they start learning, how to be kind of like a wild sloth. And so I am right here. And I think this is Weenie, and you're not Pringle. Are you Salim? I think Salim was moved over here. So this is new to me.
That's funny. There we are. Hello.
Can you? Yeah. Okay, so this is the elementary school. This is kind of like a platform that we have for the babies. And so they are here in this structure when they reach elementary, and here they start learning how to climb a little bit more. They start getting more leaves, and so they also have their hammocks with some blankets, although we start also weaning them off of the blankets and the hammocks because they need to learn how to start sleeping on the branches and how to start sleeping on their own and everything. And so whenever they're hungry, they just get up and they start eating leaves whenever they're hungry. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this is Weenie and this is Salim. Um, I'm really not that familiarized with these guys, or maybe this is Salim and this is another baby that I do not know. Interesting. Well, these are some babies. They are learning, you know, how to start eating from hanging from upside down, as they're doing right here. Their organs are really, really like strong, and they can swallow hanging from upside down. If you guys try to do that, you will get dizzy and it won't be like a good experience. And so for them, it is something natural. It is something that we want to see. And so it is really, really cool to know that they're here. And the vets are here. Sophie, ¿quiénes son ellos? Okay, this is a new sloth. Her name is Daenerys. What happened to her? ¿Qué le pasó? Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so this is Daenerys and this is Salim. So Daenerys here, you can see that she has her arm wrapped in this like bandage over here. Unfortunately, her mom got electrocuted, and that's something that happens almost every single day to sloths here in Costa Rica and other animals like monkeys, iguanas, or squirrels. And so whenever there is a monkey or a sloth climbing on a power line, our power lines are not insulated, and so whenever they touch two wires, they get electrocuted and they get really badly injured. And so unfortunately for Daenerys' mom, she did not make it. She didn't survive, and that's why we have to take care of her. And in the process of the electrocution, she got a burn on her hand. However, I think she's doing good, and hopefully she'll make it. Sometimes when there's an electrocution, there's also internal damage, and so their organs might be severed or damaged. And so hopefully we're gonna keep a close eye on Daenerys for sure, and hopefully she'll make it. And so after here, they go to high school, and I'm gonna move over to high school again, which is close to the sloth nursery. So let me start walking towards that side.
While you're doing that, Andrea, I'll just note too, we've got easily 100 already in YouTube chat. And so what I want to note is that we're going to answer a lot of questions in the live program in just a minute. We're going to do our Q&A. But for any questions you don't get answered today, we do have a Padlet link. So all our registered classes, you'll have the chance to share your additional queries there. We're going to keep Andrea up without sleeping for like 3 straight days, just answering like 1,000 questions. And that's because we care about sloths just that much. So feel free to check that out. We've also got a really fun Kahoot for everybody. So we partner with the Toucan Rescue Ranch and an awesome sloth Kahoot. You guys can keep the learning going after, do a little fun homework together when you're done this broadcast with the link below. That is in our YouTube chat and with our StreamYard classes too. But let's head back to Andrea and check out high school for a minute before Q&A.
Sure, yeah. So I am back here on the rescue center side, and I have high school. And so let me flip my camera again. High school is basically this outdoor enclosure that we have for the babies. And so as you can see, they have their own trees where they can start climbing, they can start doing stuff, they can start eating from actual leaves from an actual tree. If they want to, they can go and start sleeping on the branches. And so they start learning a lot of different things here in high school. So now this is Weenie, and we've got another friend over there. And so Weenie, he is one of the older babies we have at the moment, and he is enjoying his life over here in the tree. I've actually seen him sleeping on the branches, which is great. And whenever Weenie gets to a kilogram and a half, he will go to the university at the release site. And so over there, he will start learning more things. He will be put on an outdoor enclosure with a more natural environment. He'll have bigger spaces to climb on. And he'll learn how to be a wild sloth. And then whenever he's ready, we will open up the gates for him and he'll get to go back into the wild, which is amazing. In the last couple of years, we've been able to rewild a lot of babies, and we actually have around like a 90% success rate on rewilding the babies. So that is great. And as I said at the beginning, like with every single generation, with every single individual, we keep on learning things. And sloths, like, they're more fascinating than what people would think. You can learn things about sloths every single day. You can learn something new, being it like behavior-wise or their biology or something else. And so it's really important to, keep on going with the research and keep on going with all of the curiosity that can surround sloths.
Andrea, this has been such an amazing program. Honestly, for our students too, you never know what you're going to get with live animal interactions. Animals can do anything in a broadcast. And the fact that we've had commando-style climbing, we've had sloths eating flowers, we've had babies speaking out, it's just amazing for World Sloth Day. Are you good to dive in with questions? I know our audience has a lot of queries. And so, folks, YouTubers, you guys are already on the case. Live classes, I'm going to head to you guys, and we'll take as many questions as we can over the next few minutes. But Miss Melnick's class, I'm going to kick it off with you guys joining us today in Duncan, Nova Scotia. Welcome in, everybody, and take us away. Hey, guys.
Right.
Hi.
Come on up, share a question with Andrea.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, come on down, Sophie, for a question.
I love the energy. Sophie, yeah, come on up.
Sophie.
Hello, Sophie.
Sophie has a question for you.
Perfect.
So, like, what are like the ages for the different like schools? Like, how old would a sloth be, like, after they get like in elementary school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrea, did you catch that? Perfect.
Yes, I caught it. So, it really depends. I cannot tell you like an average age because it really depends on the individuals. However, normally, it would be maybe babies around 1 month to 3-4 months old. They will still be on the nursery. Then they will go to elementary school until they're maybe like 7 months old. Then they will come to high school. Although in elementary and high school, we're starting to merge them together and bring those babies over here so they can have more exercise as well. And so high school would be maybe around like a year to a year and a half. And then they will go to college and they will be there until they're around maybe like 2 years old or so. In the case of Helga, for example, it happened that way. Helga just turned around like 2 years old in October. And so it was kind of like that with her.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Sophie, for the very first question. Miss Rice's class joining us in South Lake Tahoe, California. If you guys want to come on in for a question, you are good to go. Hey. We're holding on.
Hold on, we're there. We're coming.
We're coming.
I'm going to share screen so he can ask.
Take your time.
And here's my friend, Judah. All right, Judah, what's your question?
Hey. Oh, there we are. Share away.
Go ahead, Judah. What's your question?
No.
Go ahead, Judah. Go ahead, Judah.
Why did you stop the live stream?
Just ask your question so they can see you.
Who's a human year? And is there a sloth middle school?
Good question.
So, I do not know exactly how long they live, and I definitely do not know how long is a sloth year comparing to human years, because that's a really tricky question. But sadly, there hasn't been a lot of research being done on sloths, at least not in the wild. And so there hasn't been anyone that has been following sloths from the moment they're born to the moment they die. And so it's really difficult to give you an average of their lifespan. However, here we like to say somewhere between 20 and 25, maybe even 30 years. But again, we're not sure. In captivity, it also changes. I know that there is the oldest sloth to be ever recorded is on a German zoo, and he's 52 years old. So that is a really old sloth.
That is. Great question, guys. By the way, if we put this sloth chasing you down to like horror music, it could be very Halloween-y. We could consider that later.
True.
Miss Wells class, Port aux Basques, Newfoundland, right down the road from me here. If you guys have one, come on in. Hey, grade sixes.
Hi. How long do sloths sleep for?
Yeah.
Sleep for so it's not as much as a lot of people would think. A lot of people would say 20 hours, even all day long, and that's not true. Sloths, they sleep around 10 to 15 hours a day. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. I do have to tell you that whenever it's raining, sloths get super active for some reason, and even way more aggressive. And so it's easier to see them when it's raining because they will go all over around in the I've seen them in the forest. I've seen them here in captivity. Our permanent residents will go like crazy when it's raining. They will go all over around their enclosures. But yeah.
Interesting. How neat is that? We're going to take one from our 3 other live classes, and then we'll head to YouTube for a couple, do a second round. We got tons of time, folks. So Miss Scott's class did have to go there in Stephenville, Newfoundland, and they wanted to know how many sloths you have at the ranch total.
Oh, that is always a really difficult question. So we have 6 permanent resident sloths. We have the 3 babies in the nursery, plus 2 in elementary, plus I would say 2 here in high school, and then college we have a lot of them right now. I think there's like 6 or 7 sloths in the university. And then also at the release side, we have a bunch of them. So roughly, I would say maybe around 30.
This is a good problem to have when you have so many sloths, you just can't even hardly keep count. It's amazing.
I know, right?
We're going to go all the way from Newfoundland to the other coast in Burnaby, BC. Miss Sherwood's class, if you want to unmute your mic, come on in, guys. Hey. Come on in.
Can you help me with the office?
Is there some kind of what's between like a difference of 3-finger sloth and a 2-finger?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a very good and a very difficult question to answer in just a couple of minutes, because everything is different between 2-fingered and 3-finger sloths. And so actually this plush toy is more of like a 3-finger sloth. And so 3-finger sloths, they have kind of like these black masks under their eyes. They don't have the piggy nose that 2-finger sloths have. Of course, they have 3 fingers instead of 2. I can actually show you a picture of a 3-finger sloth that we had. Just give me 1 second to find it. Then anatomically, like inside of their bodies, they're super different as well. So this is a picture of a 3-finger sloth adult. You can see the 3 fingers over here. You can see that the face looks completely different. You know, the mask under their eyes, their nose is black. They have kind of like a circular face, if you will. Also, their hair is completely different. The color of their hair is different. 3-finger sloths, they have way more cervical vertebrae in their necks. And so just like an owl, they can rotate their necks up to 270 degrees, which is really cool. That's something that the sloth was actually doing here. So it's also really creepy to, you know, just stand in front of them and just seeing them slowly turn their heads on the other side to see you. And then 2-finger sloths, like, you know, Weenie over here, they have that piggy nose and the 2 fingers in their hands. They have less cervical vertebrae on their necks, and so they're kind of like fused. What are you doing? They also have kind of like a pad on their hands and their feet. That 3-finger sloths do have that, but it's covered in hair. I'm actually gonna go to other babies because I don't want Weenie to keep on following me.
That's funny. So a whole bunch. They're radically different. And by the way, speaking of creepy, you had Winnie chasing you, and I looked away for 2 seconds, and you brought the plushie up to the camera. So for me, Terrifying. We're going to head to Miss Kuhn's class for a quick live one. I want to make sure Miss Wells' class, especially at the second question in today, will take a few YouTube runs. We're going to go a little late today, guys, because we're rebels together. But Freehold, New Jersey, come on in, Laura Donovan. Hi, grade 3s. Unmute your mic. Come say hi. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, we have
Hi.
Cormac.
What do the sloths eat and how much do they eat?
How do they eat and how much? Good question.
Okay, so that is also another difference between three-finger sloths and two-finger sloths. And so they have a completely different diet, although most of their diet for both different families are based on leaves. And so three-finger sloths, they are almost completely herbivores, which means that they only eat leaves. And so around like 90% of their diet is based on leaves. And the other 10% could be kind of like seed pods or flowers or fruits, but mainly just leaves. With the two-fingered sloths, I'm trying to see if there's another one out. With the two-fingered sloths, 70% of their diet is based on leaves, and the other 30% it is based on flowers, bark from the trees. It could be insects. They are opportunistic omnivores, or that's what we like to call them. And so if they find an opportunity to catch an insect, a lizard, even a bird's egg or a baby bird on the nest that is not being guarded, then they will definitely eat those. And so they need that extra protein for them to keep on going. But yeah, their diets are different from one another. And at least here at the ranch, our sloths eat around like 1 kilogram of food a day. So they eat quite a bit.
That's like what I eat a day. Good for them. Let's head to YouTube. Actually, Miss Wells' class, I want to really make sure you guys get a second one in today. So quarter past, I'm coming to you first, YouTube, and then we'll head to all our other live classes. We'll probably go to the 50-minute mark together. Come on in, Miss Wells group.
Hi. Hi, what's your favorite sloth?
No pressure.
That is actually a lot of pressure. Well, it's definitely Ty, and it's actually pretty bittersweet because Ty was one of our permanent residents, and we just recently took him to the release site. He's been here for 11 years. He's one of the most aggressive sloths we've ever had, and we're taking kind of like a leap of faith with him, and so we're trying to see if maybe Ty can go back into the wild. And so he's gonna go through all of these rehab process. He's doing really good, actually. He's loving it there at the release site, and so hopefully he will make it back into the wild. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a ladies' man because he's always been here. But yeah, I just want to see him back in the wild.
Oh, nice. What a great story. And we won't tell any of the other sloths that Ty's your favorite.
Please.
Jury's class on YouTube. Jacob wants to know, how long is a sloth pregnancy?
Oh, well, that's a cool question. So with the three-finger sloths, they have a pregnancy of around 6 months, 7 months, around like that. And with the two-finger sloths, their pregnancy lasts almost a year. So it could be 11 months and a half to 12 months. That was Cynthia. Cynthia is one of the sloth nannies making a special appearance.
Cynthia tried so hard to be on camera and then knocked it over. Comedy. It's amazing. Thank you, Cynthia. All right. Miss Joseph wants to know, are sloths endangered?
So they're not endangered, but they can be in danger, if that makes sense. There is a species though that is endangered, the pygmy three-finger sloth. Those are endangered because they're only found on a tiny island in Panama, and so it's kind of difficult to to see them, and their population levels are starting to decrease. But right now, like altogether, sloths are more in danger because of deforestation, habitat loss, electrocutions, dog attacks, also, all of these issues that we have to work with our sloths, and also, believe it or not, the illegal pet trade. And so there's a lot of people that want to have sloths as pets. Sloths make terrible pets, believe me. The best pets are the plush toys. Because they're not demanding. They're definitely not attacking you. They're not biting you. They're not clawing you. They do not need food or anything. And of course, plush toys belong in your houses. Sloths belong in the wild. However, there's a lot of people that do not understand that, and it's increasing to see more people wanting to have sloths as pets, or to have these opportunities where you can pay to have a photo with a sloth and all of those things.
Yep. I'm really, really glad every time we get the chance to talk about that. So thank you for having that as part of our broadcast. Now, YouTube classes, again, we've got our Padlet up today. So if you guys want to share additional questions there, please do. But we'll head back to our live classes for 4 more queries. Miss Melnick's class, Nova Scotia first. Come on in, unmute your mic, and take us away. Hey.
What kind of leaves or bark and bugs do they like to eat?
Yeah, any favorite leaves or bugs?
Okay, so bugs, I have no idea. I would say maybe ants or small bugs that they can catch. But the leaves, this is actually one of their favorites. It's called poro, or for the 2-finger sloths, of course, or it could be the almond tree, which they really, really like. It's one of the trees that we have on high school, so they get to start eating that, and they can find that in the wild. And then with the 3-finger sloths, they like a plant that is called Cecropia or guarumo. It is a tree that grows here in the rainforests of Central and South America, and so they really like them. And also the ficus trees, where figs come from.
Yeah, figs are very cool. We can do a whole program on figs.
Oh, yes.
Miss Rice, I'm going to come to you and just take a question sort of through you if we can. That would be lovely in California.
You betcha. Yes, thank you so much. What was the question I hear? Oh, Latte. You mentioned Latte didn't want to stop eating green beans and carrots, and we've been arguing about why sloths are so slow in our class. So I wonder why that was kind of a hard transition to move to leaves. Maybe she liked the energy.
I think well, ever since she was a young sloth, when we started weaning her off of milk, she received green beans and carrots. And so that's something that, of course, she cannot find in the wild. And, it is easier for her to just eat green beans and carrots because that's something that we were giving her. And so I think she got, used to that fact that we were just taking care of her. And she got really, really comfortable with that fact. Now with our babies, we have not been feeding them with green beans and carrots because we do not want that to happen anymore. And so they start eating leaves. Oh, there's a fight going on. They start eating leaves or of different kinds and things that they can find in the wild.
This broadcast has the most incredible animal stuff ever, and it had Cynthia knock over a thing too. Best program ever. Miss Sherwood's class, I'm heading to you guys next, and Miss Kuhn to wrap up. Come on in Burnaby. Hey guys.
Hi.
We don't really have a question, but we just want to say goodbye. We're getting really wiggly here.
No, wiggly's good. Well, thank you so much for joining Miss Kuhn's class. Freehold, if you guys want to come on in. Hey guys, unmute. Hello.
Hi, Jack has a question.
Why do sloths
I want to make sure we get the question in, guys.
Why do sloths drink goat milk?
Goat milk. Great question. So they cannot drink cow's milk because cow's milk has lactose and they're lactose intolerant. And so for their bellies, it's better to have that goat's milk. Of course, there's not like a sloth milk formula that we can replicate. And so goat's milk is the one that is a little bit more similar and that they can digest a little bit more than cow's milk. And that's why we give them goat's milk.
Amazing. Andrea, I know we could go all day with these great questions.
I definitely could.
It's been such an amazing World Sloth Day, one of my very favorite programs I've ever been a part of. Is there a last message you want to share with us before we wrap up and get the classes to say a big goodbye?
Yes. In about 2 hours, we're going to go live with our Sloth Ironman Games. I'm prepared and everything. Sloth Ironman Games is an annual fundraiser that we do every single year to support the babies. This year it is especially with the Saving Sloths Together program. It is always like that, but this year is more special. And so I was the referee this year, and believe me, even though I kind of know what happens, I am super excited. So I really, really hope that you guys tune in on our social media platforms. We're everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch the Slothlete reveal today. So you will see who is going to compete. Hopefully you guys can start supporting one of the babies because it's going to be a lot of fun. And then starting tomorrow, we're going to have the competition. And so we're going to have the hibiscus eat off, the poop off challenge. That is my personal favorite. I had a lot of fun this year. Then there's also the 1 meter dash and the strong sloth challenge. And I know that Jesse, you're looking forward to it as well.
Honestly,
but we're all getting ready for that.
I'm ready for the hibiscus eat off. I do that personally too. Andrea, this has been such an amazing program. As you know, what we do to end every broadcast, I'm going to bring in all our teachers in just a second. But again, share your additional questions in the Padlet below. Please take part in our Sloth Kahoot Challenge too, and check out toucanrescueranch.org and all our social media platforms to learn more about those Sloth Ironman Games. So much fun to come. And Andrea, I'm going to bring in Miss Melnick's class, Miss Rice, Miss Wells' class, and Miss Coon's class. Unmute your mics, everybody. Say a big thank you and farewell. Bye, everybody.